Hello, world. Welcome to Roll and Keep, and welcome to our continued playtest of Tales of Xadia, the official TTRPG of the Dragon Prince, powered by Cortex Prime. Very excited to have you guys here. We're very excited to be back. And who is we? Let me introduce us. We've got Aliza Pearl from Nerdist and Geek and Sundry, Streampunks, the Improvised generation, Mellie Doucette, our community manager, our invaluable community manager, Vanessa Guerrero from the El Rey Network and the Kicking and Screaming podcast, Cam Banks, the creator of Cortex Prime, the lead developer of Tales of Xadia, who will also be helping us through the system as we go. We'll be pausing every now and then to talk through mechanics and stuff like that, so you guys can get a better idea of how the game is played. I'm Joe Starr. I'm one of the writers of Honest Trailers. I'm the senior content manager for D&D Beyond and Fandom Tabletop. I'll be your narrator today. We're going to speed through Micro Machine Man style, some quick business, and then we're going to jump right back into the story. First of all, the Tales of Xadia playtest is available to download right now, and the full Tales of Xadia book is available to pre-order right now. If you're on Twitch right now with us, they're dropping links in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, there's a link in the description in the video. Again, we're here live on Twitch every Thursday, and VODs drop on YouTube every Monday. Like, subscribe, hit all the required buttons. We appreciate it. I'm finger gunning a lot today. It's gonna be a thing. To thank you guys on Twitch for tuning in live today, we're giving away copies of Cortex Prime. Giveaways are going to be triggered with heroic successes. What's a heroic success? We're gonna find out. And then will Joe, the narrator, when one of his players rolls a heroic success, respond to it appropriately, as opposed to last week when he really messed one up and then thought about it all week? We'll find out. But for now, let's return to Xadia on Roll and Keep. And welcome back. 4 individuals were brought together by a mysterious moon shadow elf named Feathershaw. Their quest? Investigate the forgotten, abandoned, and floating city of Aneen, drifting high across the Xadian sky, to claim a powerful artifact called the Primal Well, before the island collides with a mountain range at the border. The group quickly discovered that Aneen is not at all abandoned. It's inhabited by a society of wingless skywing elves, torn from the pages of history books. From there, things have gotten steadily worse. The Sunfire siblings, Benetta and Babacar, were attacked by the not-so-kindly old man and leader of the town, Nosix, after discovering that Benetta was next on his list of test subjects for a magical armor that could touch the Primal Well. They defeated him with cunning, pure will, and soup. The city's youngest ever elected sheriff and kind of a doof, Necrix, discovered that his father, thought dead, had been one of Nosix's test subjects, now frozen in the basement along with several others in the city's keep. Lone human of the group, Winda, has been promoted by her new employer, Olana, to save the city via a mad plan to magically shift city bridges as a means to get the people of Aneen safely to the mountains. Eljal and Feathershaw, led by the incredibly inquisitive Pareka, have found an alternate route to the Primal Well, but are unaware of the dangers that touching it poses. Also, the floating island just made impact with the border mountains and is slowly crumbling. We begin in an inn. A human inn. Not very crowded. It's evening, dinner time. The dinner rush is kind of wrapped up. People are throwing coins down on the table, heading back. Back into town, back outside, back to do whatever it is these folks want to be doing after dinner. Dessert, drink, dancing. I don't know. That's another story. 3 people are still at their table, relaxing, celebrating a recent victory. Winda and her 2 very, 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 very best friends, Diane and Vanessa. Diane kicks back, stretches, just kind of grins. Absent-mindedly sort of stirs a spoon through his bowl of quinoa. Smiles up at his 2 friends, and it's just like, again, they called themselves bandits.
Oh man,
that was solid work with the crossbow.
Thank you. I mean, they all but just had a target ready to go right on their backs.
I mean, look at it. We're not. Look, I don't want to, talk out of turn or brag too much, but we're not exactly helpless looking.
At 5'4", I feel like I'm menacing in this realm.
Stout and menacing.
Yeah.
Diane sort of chimes in and agrees with you. She's finishing her drink and has this little bowl of spiced jackfruit that she's slowly been working on because, as she's reminded you throughout the evening, even though she hasn't stopped eating it, does not like spicy foods. All that said, town saved, day saved. Bandits will trouble this area no longer. Our to-do list is empty.
Well, there's wandering. They're seeing if maybe there's towns that need our outside services, maybe even for protection, a fee. I'm always on the wandering end.
I mean, wandering, sounds great. And he sort of finally takes another very sort of slow and deliberate spoonful of that quinoa. And let me slowly backtrack as the narrator, because the gentleman with the bowl of quinoa is Diane, and Vanessa is the one that made a crack about you being stout. Yes, that's right. Thank you for correcting yourself, not the person who developed the game. Diane takes this very slow, deliberate spoonful of quinoa, eyeballs Vanessa for a moment, just kind of gives her, sort of a bit of a look, and was like, well, actually, wandering, yeah, but with a bit of a direction in mind. And she kind of like, do we have to do this right now? And he's like, well, I mean, at some point we need to stop pausing the journey, the trip. And, Winda, it's been...
I've had a lot of these. I know how they start, typically.
Oh, it's not supposed to be these. It's not supposed to be these. We just, we were on our way somewhere when we met you. It's not you, and it's not really us. It's that.
And now you're done. So we can probably just avoid all the uncomfortable stuff, and I'll take my quinoa that, again, I'd rather be barley. And figure out my own dusty trail if that's where we're going here.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to be negative, and I didn't mean for it to be weird or anything. And Diane sort of cuts in, and she's like, it's because it's a family thing, like we mentioned. We set out to visit Catullus. Our ancestors visited Catullus. We would be the first people since our great grandparents to go, and it's a big deal to us. But it's how ancestral things can get.
Do I?
Don't Winda, don't do that. Don't do that. There's always, after Catullus, we're wanderers. We wander. We'll wander into each other again.
That's the funny thing about wandering. You're not actually looking for anything. We'll see if we come across each other or not, but it's been real.
As Winda, you sort of, as you leave the the inn, sort of leaving your friends, kind of there's that certain amount of no, wait, come back, but also this was without malice, but this is kind of what they needed to have happen. That, and maybe at some point the fact that it wasn't personal, might land, but for now, even though you might not show it, it probably stings a little bit. Winda, you sort of walk to the center of this small little, would we call it a town? No, we would not. We'd more just call it a village. Would we call it a village? I don't know if we would. Kind of a settlement, a lot of temporary buildings, stuff like that. Just folks that have happened to end up in a spot, a lot like you. And as you sort of start to wander around, where do you go?
I'm gonna go wander around for a real good out of sight sitting area. Get your feelings together. I don't really want to like interact with like another human right now. Sitting area.
Sure. So, kind of kick rocks for a little bit and find yourself near. There's a bit of a, sort of a sort of temporary, sort of thrown together garden that someone has planted, and things are just starting to sprout a little bit. It's one of the more permanent structures in the area. Is next to this garden, and you find sort of a found object relaxation area, maybe a break spot for whoever has been farming this area, whoever sort of like lives nearby. Some mismatching chairs, a couple of things stacked up on top of each other to be a table. You have a seat. You sort of sit down. Sort of carefully. The chair's a little not quite a chair. The sun's gone down. Night's taken over. It's quiet. It's just you, the sound of the forest that sort of starts in front of you, the insects, and your thoughts. And oddly, you get your wish. You don't interact with a human. Instead, from the trees nearby, you hear a voice that's completely unfamiliar, someone that you've never heard before, who simply says, "It's strange how much humans value solitude."
I don't know. You kind of start to value something that just is always there. Then seems a lot less boring than just what your home base is.
Stepping out of the darkness and react to it as you will is a tall, sort of lanky figure with this large, like feathered scarf, let's call it a shawl, wrapped around their shoulders. Much taller than you. Definitely very slender, very lithe, very purposeful in their movement. Sort of a neutral, maybe a little sad expression on their face. And is this solitude something that you've sought willingly or has been thrust upon you, human?
I'd say it serves me pretty well. It's something I can depend on. Things that you can depend on are nice.
I wish I could understand that the way that you do. You seem to be between journeys right now, between company.
I could use another adventure.
I could use a contractor.
In that case. Let's do it, Window. Why not? What are we looking at price-wise? And also, I'm willing to bet you just don't hang out at trees and wait for the first contractor. So, about how long have you been wanting to hire me?
Since your altercation with the bandits, it was impressive. But clearly your former comrades have other immediate plans and goals.
Yeah, they plan for a future. They don't have time for wandering, but I've got plenty of time in my docket for a pit stop between now and whenever the end of wandering eventually comes.
The pit stop is an abandoned ruin, full of treasure, knowledge, and relics, some possibly invaluable. You can take your fill of them, but there's one artifact that's for me.
And what would that be?
Source of magic.
Yeah, that narrows it down.
To me and my people.
Okay.
Perhaps. But that said, I can pay you in found loot, and I can pay you in purpose.
Well, there's one that I come across along much more than the other one, so let's talk purpose.
As you say that, the camera shifts and we'll cut to present. So when it says, let's talk purpose, we sort of frame the character in the same way, except now there are just elves running this way and that as a city is slowly collapsing under the brunt of impact with a mountain range. People are running around shouting and screaming as you, Winda, along with your new friend Olana, are now responsible for evacuating these people safely off of this floating mountain catastrophe.
So I didn't think we'd get to like this part. I was pretty sure that we'd get them off before like the actual impact part, but how are we doing on those bridges?
Olana just like turns and looks at you and is like, I'm working on it. I'm gathering mages. Do you know mages?
No, this is the first time in my life I've ever interacted with a mage. Do you just like hit the? I don't know what their currency or their bartering system I think is, but I think just knowing that they won't crash into a mountain and die should be enough.
Okay, I work. Wait, you do know mages. Mages came with you. Fine.
Right. Yes.
Look, I know that it's just your first day working here, and she hands back on the face, and Alana's just like, I need you to focus.
Are we really having a go team meeting right now as we're heading towards the ground?
Yes, I need you to focus. Find your mages. Go team. Okay, I'm going to start gathering the people over there.
All right, go team. I'll get the mage. Mage, magic, bridge. Got it. Should be easy enough.
Olana runs off going, sorry everyone, the humans gathering resources to save you all. And starts sort of gathering folks. We're going to cut to Eljal and Feathershaw standing in the entrance to this strange cellar where the primal well is kept. The two of you are in this open doorway. And as soon as I find my description, I will recite it to you because it's a great one. So you're in this very dark cellar. There is a little bit of light. You see there's almost like a sort of turning staircase towards the other side of the room. And I never know if my gestures are in frame as I do this, so I apologize. And then sort of at the top of that steps, you do see light coming through this wooden doorway. You actually do hear there are voices. There's something going on up there, but you can't quite hear what's going on. You're just aware that there's someone at the top of those steps on the other side of that door. Less important, because in front of you is the primal well, currently pulsing and conducting sky and earth magics through itself. It's this. It's a sizable a piece of marble. It's faceted like a diamond. There's just this pulse, this energy field of residual magic, almost like a heartbeat, twisting and beating around it. As the magic twists, you see that it is then redirected downward through the top of the well, of the actual stone, and then pushes through the bottom. And then this is what elevates Anine to a great height in the sky. You can almost feel the hum. The hairs on your arms are almost lifting a little bit around. That's all I'll tell you. We'll leave it at that. I didn't start describing anything else. No, sir. Yeah, just we'll leave it at. Yeah, no. We'll just leave it at the hairs of your arms and on the back of your neck are kind of going off, and you just feel this tingle of this very magically charged room. Elzal, what would you like to do?
Is the little girl still there? The weird little girl?
Yes, the weird-looking little girl.
The weird-looking little girl.
Pareka is still there.
Pareka.
And she's just sort of, she's for the first time since you met her, she's kind of quiet. She's just staring at the thing, just kind of wide-eyed, like, wow. And Feathershaw is also quiet, but with a slightly different wide-eyed expression. Feathershaw is almost like hungry looking, staring at this powerful source of magic.
So that's the thing that's been keeping this whole thing in the air. That's pretty powerful, huh?
That's the thing that can save my people, that can redeem me in their eyes, take this disgusting curse off of me, and perhaps help redeem you.
What do you know about my redemption?
Enough that you feel like you need it. I saw it in your eyes when I talked about my fate. It's a fear that I've seen a lot of Moon Shadow elves have.
Well, I guess if we can pull this off, then yeah, maybe we both have a chance.
Are you two allowed to be in here without permission? Because I'm not allowed to be in here without permission.
Well, we're adults, so...
Oh my gosh.
Rekka just kind of like looks up at you, like, like cheeks like puffed out, just very like girl from Ponyo. It's like,
okay, how do we move this thing, carry it? What's the plan, Feathershaw? Is there a plan?
Feathershaw sort of pauses for a moment, as if trying to decide how to word their next sentences. He says, "We take it. The island is doomed anyway. The two of us can take it. And we can go if we choose to. My magic can take us off the island."
How are you going to carry this thing? And where are we going to take it?
It seems
Back home?
heavy, but not unmanageable. And yes, the two of us will take it back. We'll take it back to my home, and then I'll make sure that word travels to your home that you've helped save my town, that you've helped save my city.
And what's going to happen to everyone the sky elves who live here?
How concerned
Does this
are
belong
you?
to them?
How concerned are you with what happens to them? Really?
I mean...
Eljal, they were doomed anyway.
Yeah, and I guess I don't see any of them here trying to salvage this thing, so...
You look back down and Pareka's just like...
Well, I mean, besides you, kid, what are you gonna do? Go ahead, Pareka, go grab it. If you really want it, it's yours.
I can just touch it?
Well, I don't know about that, but I was just making a point. All right, kid.
Because I'm not even allowed in this basement. And she just sort of starts to step forward.
Wait, why aren't you allowed in here? You said you're not allowed in here? Without
Because
permission?
I'm me. Because Nosix says it's because I'm me. And because this room is very important and full of powerful magic. It's why I'm not allowed in most rooms. Her foot is just teetering on Yeah, so you start to, as you're like, now she's sort of stepped forward, and so your field of vision has kind of gone down and forward. And you see that most of the room is just sort of this normal stone, but there is like this, a few feet out from the well, there's this like circular stone pattern that's made out of a different material than the rest of the floor. And her foot is just sort of like hovering on it, just sort of like waiting to take her next step.
Okay, hold on. Step back. Pareka, just stand by the wall over there. I don't want to be responsible for you if you get hurt or something.
It's like the third time I've heard that today. And like, she just sort of like stomps back and just like very forcefully just against the wall. And just like folds her arms and is just like glowering at you.
Okay. All right, Feathershaw. All right, let's take this thing. Can I do something to Aliza knows things that Eljal doesn't. Is there anything I can do, like a spell to check how powerful this thing is? Or I don't know, can I just do an insight check or something?
Sure. So I think you probably can't, but you could get Feathershaw to. What exactly is it that you're trying to sort of surmise?
I want to know how to, because listen, Eljal may not know what Aliza knows, but Eljal is also not an idiot, and Eljal knows magic and knows that something like this is very powerful.
Mhm.
And so Eljal wants to know how best to transport it, how best to take it out of this casing. What's the deal? Like, this is a thing that was powerful enough to levitate an island. Like, we're
Right.
not just going to walk out of here with this.
Right. So we won't roll this because you two are pretty much on the same page right now, right? So it's not like a weird test to dig more information out of Feathershaw, who has already been openly horrible with you. As you kind of say, like, okay, let's do this, Feathershaw sort of splits off and starts to circle around to the other side as if, you know, the two of you are sort of taking this pincer approach. And they're nodding, and Feathershaw's like, a plan is forming.
Okay.
The mountain is taking the island. That had to be what the shutter is. So, taking the well will remove Ineen's ability to levitate, but the mountain has already done that. So I say we take the well. I use my magic to remove us. And none's the wiser.
Remove us.
If you insist to find the rest of our companions, I suppose that's doable as well. I just don't know how much time we actually have.
Okay. I mean, when we take this out, yes, the island has already hit the mountain, but when we take this out, we're speeding up that process.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I think we should make sure that the others are able to get everyone off safely.
You sort of see like Feathershaw almost like deflates a little bit. You could tell they've just been like tense with we're doing this kind of energy. And then they just look at you and they say, Eljal, I thought you would be more than that. Feathershaw steps forward, steps their foot onto the ring of stones, and starts screaming horribly. We cut to the Sibs. Babukar and Vanessa are with Necrex in the cellar, which leads, well, this little like basement library. The cellar's not fair. It's done up. It's renovated. It's a little elf man cave for Nosix and his horribleness.
Museum of
His museum of terrors. So Nosix is on the ground, knocked out. Necrex is panicking because he's found his frozen dad. And the two of you are on the other side of that door, which apparently leads to the primal well. What would the two of you like to do or are doing?
Babu, thank you for coming when you did. I didn't know what I was going to do, how I was going to get out. He was just raving about this armor and how it was the only way to take the well and how we needed to take it to cleanse his sin. And he really just needs to get out more in the sun, I think. But is everything all right above? What happened with Feathershaw?
Listen, I also am glad that I came here when I did, because just because you're 20 minutes ahead of me in birth does not mean you should be
this again.
An hour ahead of me in our plans of what we were doing. We had things going on upstairs. You could have called.
Well, I thought this was going to be important. He was the elder, and then he just gave me soup and tried to feed me candy and make me put on suspicious armor in a basement full of bodies. Like, I don't know how I was supposed to predict that would happen.
The island kind of rumbles again. A couple books fall off some bookshelves.
My sensation is that
a frozen person goes.
we reached
are they when that falls, like is it in one piece?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, they don't see 1,000.
Great. Okay. So okay, we have Nosix. We should tie him up. Necrex, can you arrest him?
It almost takes him a moment to kind of arrest. Arrest.
Right now, we
arrest.
need to focus. Yes, you arrest Nosix.
I arrest
before he wakes up. Yes,
he did bad. Yeah.
Okay,
And he kind of walks over and he takes out what looks to be these like homemade, very crafty looking handcuffs. That if you look really closely, like actually say Necrex on them. And he just sort of like gets down and starts, he cuffs, he wraps them around the wrists of the knocked out cold Nosix. He puts those, behind his back and, kind of starts getting to work.
we need to find the others and get out of here. Yes.
Just a moment. We have to take measure of where we are. Now, I know that sounds odd that I'm saying this because normally I'm leaping right into the fray, and I did just before, but I've taken a breath now because there's the smell of magic in here is so strong. Now, it's not my kind, but
Is it not that armor? Is it?
That's what I want to have a look at. Now, you know that I've had some time in the Sunforge. I was there. I was a student of that at the.
Yes. Okay, now do the magic.
And
this thing is crashing.
Your blade was my second attempt at something great, and you should be very happy that you have it.
Yes. Okay, Father. Yes. Oh, we get it. You're so good at magic. It's so impressive. Okay.
I don't have to try. It's just innate. You know how this is.
Yes, I know. We know. You can do magic and I can't. I get it. Okay.
Let me practice my craft, and I will go over to the armor and have a look at it. I haven't really seen it close up yet, so I'm going to try to give it my attention and work at what I can make of it.
Sure. So So as you walk to the armor, it's on this stand, and you know how it looks like, because it looks pretty cool. Like, you know, like armor, but hang on, I'm finding my description of it. Is there anything you would like to do with it?
He was
Test
trying
it?
to, wasn't he trying to pull it on and sort of put it on Vanessa?
Oh yeah, it's not on the stand anymore. Sorry guys, it is lying haphazardly on the floor next to Vanessa.
All right, so I'm going to crouch down, maybe on one knee near it. I've got my staff to, you know, keep me from losing balance, and I want to just stretch my hand out with my 3 fingers and thumb, because I'm an elf, and just sort of hold a brief amount of attention and gaze into it through the light of truth, using the sun, calling upon the sun to reveal to me what this is and what it might do if I touch it. Like, am I gonna get something bad happen to me? And where is this from? What's the truth of this armor?
Okay, cool. Let's so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find out how much truth you get out of the armor with your truthiness. So I'm going to give you a very this is pretty simplistic. So a pool to overcome of 2d6s.
Okay.
We're gonna roll it. It's gonna blow for me somehow. With one hitch, a total of 4 to beat, and a D4 effect die. Beat that.
Oh, well, I don't need that hitch for anything. I don't have any stress right now. I got rid of the rest of my anger last time.
Mm-hmm.
But 4, well, let's see if I can do that. This is my awareness, I think, is what's happening here. Intellect might be useful if I was studying it, but I'm not really. I'm trying to get a sense of the thing, so I'll use awareness. It is truth, because I'm asking for truth. That's my value. I want to understand what this item's truth is. I know that there are many truths in the world, and this thing has its own. Hot-headed fire mage is my distinction. And I have crafting and I have sun magic. I want to use one of those 2. I think I'll use the sun magic. No, I'm using a spell, but I won't be using sun magic as the specialty. I think it's more of a craft thing. So I'm deliberately not giving myself a good die there, because I have to beat a 4. It's not hard to do. And a spell. Here we go. I'll start saying the words, you know, and I will roll the dice. Well, is 16
I believe that's
good enough,
what we
Joe?
call a heroic success.
And heroics
Hey!
Woo!
times 2.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Sweet. Okay. So one.
Right.
Unlocked a nice little giveaway in the chat. Somehow Babacar feels the joy of a fan receiving a free copy of Cortex Prime. So Babacar takes a moment and focuses. Says the words, casts the spell. Sort of hovers his hand over the top of this armor. The armor is sort of a full torso piece, and then there are also these detached, separate 2 gauntlets, because I accidentally said that there were last week. It's a sort of silver metal compounded with all of these very like deep and very beautiful like nighttime midnight blues. There's 3 gems in the front of the piece, 2 on the chest, and then 1 sort of at the top that reaches a point at the throat. There's also a gem encrusted in each of the gauntlets that Nozzix was trying to strap on to Benetta. The gauntlets are, you know, just sort of top layer pieces of, not like full gloves, but like top layer pieces of armor with these with straps down the bottom. So as you sort of touch the armor, you see this the series of scenes almost plays out in your head, Babacar. You see a younger Gnostics, and he is at a forge with another Skywing elf who is currently actually doing the blacksmithing to build the armor, as Gnostics is working on adding these enchantments to the armor. You see, you skip forward a little bit of time. It's this very like tense moment where you get the feeling that like if any little thing goes wrong, it could spell disaster for the both of them. You then see afterwards the piece is done. It's up. The blacksmith is having a drink of water, wiping the sweat from his brow. Gnostics on the other side of the room, it's a tense moment, you know, despite this moment despite this scene of successfully creating something very beautiful, because the armor is beautiful, but contrasted with the fact that both of these men seem completely ashamed of it. You see a scene of Gnostics inviting an old woman, a Skywing elf, to the keep for soup, who of course obliges. She's so excited, you know, to have this great honor. You know, the village elder, the mayor of Anin, has invited her to dinner personally. We see the blacksmith again with Gnostics. The blacksmith has this horror in his eyes, right, as Gnostics is explaining to him, you know, Vuxen, I need your help. It didn't work. Where the work isn't finished, and Vuxen is just saying, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, people have to know. And you know, Gnostics is, if people know, then they'll know the whole truth. They'll know that we're doomed. It will ruin everything here. What's more important? This illusion of happiness for these people, their lives, their day-to-day lives, or the cost we're putting on ourselves? Don't be selfish, Fuckton. You see another scene. An older Skywing elf, middle-aged, in a similar uniform to what Necrex is wearing, sitting in the keep with Gnostics, just, you know, venting and getting a little frustrated that this is the third Skywing elf, the third citizen of Anin that's now gone missing. And he just doesn't know what to do, and he's starting to feel like he's failing the city. And then he asks where the bathroom is later after his soup, and Gnostic says it's up the stairs and to the right. And you, as this sheriff heads towards the stairwell, he's like, was he up or down? And heads down the stairwell. You see the shock and horror in his face as he discovers, as you have, this room of his frozen friends and fellow citizens, these people that he's been racking his confidence and his brain to find. You see Gnostics appear behind him the same way he appeared behind Vanessa. You see Gnostics and the blacksmith again. The blacksmith just horrified. He's the sheriff. Gnostics. People are going to find out. They're going to ask questions, and Gnostics, you know, simply says the people have their story and they'll accept it. They'll let it go. Again, they're locked into this world that they think is never going to change. But don't you understand, Fuxen? If we're not able to touch the well, that's the real doom of our people. We have to protect the well. Anin is not permanent. The well is permanent. the well means our people will be permanent. And that's when you sort of see again just this series of flashes. The old woman touching the well, wearing the armor. In a flash, just freezing in place. You see several others, some wearing the armor, some not. Eventually, you see the addition of the gauntlets. For example, the sheriff not wearing the armor, just sort of pushed into touching the well. Eventually, there's this addition of the gauntlets, and people are able to hold it for a moment, but then eventually frozen in that same, just blank stare. 6 or 7. And as the last one, sort of last moments of the realizing what's about to happen to them sort of flashes through your mind, Babacar. That's when you come back to the present, your hand hovering over the well. You've maybe lived in these memories for a few minutes, but only just a very quick moment has gone by.
Yeah.
What did the light reveal to you?
This is all his fault. This is all his fault. He wants to take the well. Why would he want to do that?
He said something about how he knew this was coming, this crash. So maybe he was just going to take it and run the way the Feathershell seems to want to do.
There's someone else in the city that he's been working with, a blacksmith. I never really caught the name. Vakten, someone who is a conspirator of his, but he forced him to craft it. I obviously understand what was necessary to craft this myself and could have done it alone, but Norzix doesn't have that kind of skill or craftsmanship, but he does have a lot of understanding about the primal sources. There's more than just sky magic here. There's everything. So look, I think we should take this. I don't want Norzix to have it. I don't think it's going to do us, but yes, we need to take this.
I'll take. I'm just gonna not tear off. I'm gonna take off my cape and just kind of wrap it a bit though, so that I'm not just carrying it.
Yeah, and I'll nudge the gauntlets in with my staff kind of thing. I don't want to touch anything, I'm like, oh no.
Sure. There's no reaction or anything when those objects touch the armor.
Right, we have to find everyone. Yes.
Necrex, is he coherent at all as he's tying up Norzix here? And
yeah, you find he's sort of just standing behind you guys and just sort of listening.
Do you know of a blacksmith in the city?
Yeah, Fuxen. He made me my trusty sidearm, and he kind of holds up his club.
He helped make this armor. This is to steal. This is being used to steal the primal well that makes this city fly. I think your Norzix wanted to take it eventually. I don't think he thought as much about you and your people as he felt about it. I think he thought that you were doomed and was going to take it away from you.
Fuxen helped take my dad?
What?
I don't think he wanted to. I think he helped make this armor.
Uncle Fuxen helped take my dad?
Okay.
Oh, look, Necrex, we need to find out if this armor works, because if it does, then maybe we can use it to save Inine, or at least the people here, because that is what keeps you up, right? That's what keeps it flying?
And that's when you hear Feathershell screaming in the next room.
Oh.
Hey, Winda, what are you doing?
I need a mage. I'm getting a mage.
Where are you headed?
I'm headed back to my original location, seeing if I can have a little conversation with Feathershell about what can be done when it comes to moving these bridges. Okay,
cool. So you're heading back to the keep?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So as you run back to the keep, you don't really, there's nothing bad going on yet. So you run in sort of through the front door. There's a very inviting, very delicious, just aromas, coming from this kitchen. Clearly, whoever, I don't think you've even met Gnostics. No, but whoever lives here, whoever posts up here, clearly a foodie. Because man, it's delicious. I could talk, all day about that, but I won't because you hear someone screaming in the basement.
I think it's barley soup, but I'll check on the screaming.
And it was. That's the real tragedy of this arc of Tales of Xadia. This barley soup going completely to waste. So, Winda, you run down the stairs and you see a lot of things all at once. You see this younger Skywing elf. You see an old man knocked out and tied up on the floor. You see a bunch of Skywing elves frozen in various states of horrific shock, like literally frozen, sort of just arranged in the area. You see these charred suits of winged armor lying on the ground, and you see Babukar and Bonetta, two of the elves that were supposed to be a part of this treasure hunt party that you were hired to be a part of, just like scooching this fourth set of armor just around with a stick and pieces of cloth.
I never thought I'd be at a point in my life to where all of this and finding out what it was would be number 2 on my priorities list. But number 1 is we need a mage, and we need one like right now or we're all crashing.
Wait. Number 1's not the screen from...
No,
Where
the
is
screen.
Feathershall and Ejal?
All right, this is number 3. Number 2 is the mage. Number 1 is the scream.
Okay, let's go. And I'll just kind of lead through the door.
And then Babacar's like, wait, do you want me to... that's too late to stop her from doing anything, obviously.
10 minutes ahead every time.
Yeah.
Right. I'll be hauling up the
rolls off camera for what's happening.
The armor in the cape, basically, or the cloak, while the others just race past me. I'm just kind of
gathering everything up.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're all together. Look at that. The three of you enter this room. You're at the top of this set of stairs that just curve down into this, very moody, but also like very cozily lit dungeon area. It's just lots of relaxing blues. I don't know. The picture in the playtest is very chill. I'd hang out there. But as the three of you just sort of like rush down this door, rush through this door, you see Eljal. Yep. And then you see Feathershall, the source of the scream. Feathershall is frozen on this circular sort of like ringed pattern that emanates out from what then you also see is what could only be the primal well. Babukar, you feel this thing in your bones, right? Yeah. Feathershall is horribly contorted, like a toy that the bully kid from Toy Story took and did bad things to. Just their limbs are just frozen and twisted and just racked with pain, and their eyes are wide open and just screaming.
Yikes.
Well, how do I make this not this?
Babu, I don't think we have time to find the blacksmith. Hand me the armor.
I'll pass the armor over, and I'll see Eljal over there as well. Right, they're not in the circle area, are they? They're not.
No, and neither is the small, very weird-looking girl standing behind them.
Whoops. Oh, Wiggy's here too, right? Or is Wiggy's
oh yeah, there's a chicken. Yeah, Eljal still has that chicken on their shoulder.
Get the child, maybe. And I'm just like putting on the armor as fast as I can.
Me get the child?
Sure, either of you, whichever one's going to get the child first, get the child.
All right, I'll get the child.
I look over
I'm
'cause
helping put the armor on. Trying to make sure I get this right because I've done enough of that.
Put on armor before Babuka.
I finally realized that they're in the room because I've been just like staring in shock at Feathershaw. What is that? What is that supposed to do?
Oh, I really wish we had the time to catch you up on like literally everything right now.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do next, because I was in too much of a rush and I mixed up two of my curses, gang, and I ask you to forgive me.
Happens to the best of
Yeah.
us.
I'm
Mixing
going
up
to pause
curses.
the story. I'm going to scroll back a few pages in
Rewind.
the final draft
It's our
document.
safety
that is the
tools,
script.
Brebo Sheldon's.
Thank you. Yep. Everyone still heard Feathershaw screaming.
Yep.
But and yes, the person who designed the game and helped write this playtest is like, but the reason Feathershaw is screaming because the moment they put their foot down on these stones, all the stones animated and they have little razor teeth mouths and they are swarming around their feet.
Cute.
So cute, right? Razor teeth mouth cute as opposed to
little razor teeth mouth stones. So, okay, flashing forward. I'm embarrassed. I will lose sleep over this later. 100%.
This is why we have script change, the safety tool, so that you can rewind
exactly.
and go.
Years from now, one of you is going to be speaking at my funeral, and they're going to be like, one time.
Let that down.
It's going to be me.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be Ness. Okay, so so the three of you kick down the door, and to your shock, you see Elzhal reacting however Elzhal plans to react to this thing that Elzhal just found out is happening. And there's just this little swarm of stones with horrible mouths snapping up at Feathershaw, who is frantically trying to twist and beat them away. And what's everybody want to do now that I've fixed the story?
I want to hear like what Aliza wants to do. I feel like.
Well, to clarify, so Feathershaw didn't even get a chance to touch the well. Is that what's happening?
Correct. So Feathershaw took their first step onto this ring and sprung the first booby trap. I mean the only booby trap.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah, so Elzhal is kind of shocked. Wasn't even thinking of booby traps somehow, and just kind of gets a little bit closer just to visually see if there's any way out of this, to help Feathershaw out of this. That's it. Just gonna look for now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the way to do this sucker is to just start swatting these suckers off. Like that's kind of the only thing that really comes to mind as the trained fighter is to
hit them with
trained fighting.
Pointy thing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take out my pointy things and start hitting the mouths.
All right. We got ourselves a little test going. So I am going to...
You got a combat of pointy things.
Is it a test or a challenge or what is it?
This is just going to be a test. Because this is just sort of a booby trap that we need to overcome. So I'm going to throw out my first roll. And it's not the craziest booby trap in the world. So I need you to beat an 8.
Well, that's pretty
cool.
Yes, I will take it.
Better for who? Not for me.
For me, the narrator with complete control of his own story.
Okay. I'm going to choose strength.
Perfect.
And devotion, justice, mastery, glory, liberty, truth. I mean,
Devotion to a Moonshadow Elf, maybe?
sure. I'm devoted to not seeing someone murdered in front of me right now.
That's fair.
Or in front of the kid, actually.
Oh, that's sweet.
I will do homesick assassin for the same reasons, as in, yeah, they did make a good point about, yes, I do feel bad for them because they've got ghosted and I'm scared that I'm also ghosted. So homesick assassin.
I'm also, just as a note, because I like the little character thing you did, you can use it now or you can use it later. I'm giving you I'm calling it a caretaker instinct asset. It's just a D6, but because of this weird fondness that you have for Brekka and Wiggy, I'm giving you this asset called caretaker.
Nice.
Aww.
Okay. Lovely. I forgot that I have 2 plot points from last time.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
And then finally I will use my sword play to make sure I don't cut Feathershaw's feet off. Actually, can I also use my sword staff as an asset, since that's what I'm using for this?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, yeah. Take that.
Back that pool.
Nice.
Hey, beautiful.
Another heroic success.
Another-
We're rolling good.
Woo!
Yeah. Cool. So as the three of you sort of start heading down these steps, you see really kind of for the first time Eljal do what Eljal do best. Eljal, like, it's your heroic success, Eljal. Do you want to explain how dope this looks?
Oh,
You swatting these things away from Feathershaw?
yeah, I'm a blur of motion, getting my swords in there, but expertly avoiding Feathershaw's feet so that they can lift them up as soon as I whack one of the mouths that's grasping at them. So you see Feathershaw almost doing like like this with their feet, and then I'm like stabbing at the mouths underneath.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's exactly what you guys see. Eljal just surgically and beautifully and poetically just like swatting these little razor-mouthed bricks away from Feathershaw, who takes this deep, staggers back, just almost like in shock. Almost hasn't even noticed that the rest of you are here yet, but kind of looks up at Eljal. Has sort of done that, a very lanky, just sort of bend down from the hips, checking their ankles and the little bites and scratches and stuff like that, and looks up at Eljal and just says, "Thank you. I didn't mean what I said. It was out of frustration and anger. I apologize."
Well, yeah, do you want to slow down for a second before you just step into booby traps? Let's talk about this. Let's figure this out.
That's fair, but I don't know that we have a long time to figure it out. And sort of at that moment, Feathershaw notices the rest of the group arriving.
Yes, we definitely don't have time.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're all here to help us make some decisions.
I've got one major one I'd like to request.
Oh, you found your way here. Interesting. I thought either you had been knocked off course or somehow my miscalculation for humans using my magic had somehow killed you.
No. Actually, found out a few fun things on my way here. Namely, there's a lot of people here, a lot of innocent elves here that are currently plummeting for the earth. So if I could just maybe even like renegotiate our payment terms, and if I could just borrow you for a hot second, I need some bridges magically moved to the edge of town so we can evacuate everyone safely.
I'll let everybody else react to this one before Feathershaw jumps back in.
Well, I'm glad we've got our priorities sorted out. We've got something in here in the midst of being stolen.
Well, I don't think they're successfully being stolen. I'm still trying to get everything on. We think we know how we can get the well, but we are going to use it to save all these people.
What do you mean, get the well? You know how to get the well.
Yes, maybe we know how to get to well. You said, oh, don't trust the elder. He's boring. He's not going to help. Yeah, he isn't going to help, but he learned things that are interesting. So anyway, it's fine. Nothix, if Neclex, rather, rewind. If Nothix wakes up, he needs to go and organize his people for safety. We will save them with their well, but that's the only way he can save his soul, okay? You do that, and I'm going to maybe touch this thing and I'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm not going to freeze, and if I freeze Babu, you will get me. Yes.
Necrex sort of like briefly raises his hand and just says, like, okay, just summing up, you want me to go back upstairs and have like a heart-to-heart with the man who apparently kidnapped my father several years ago and get him to help save the town? Just, yeah?
We don't have time for a heart-to-heart. He just has to do it. We can talk about his bad deeds later. Okay, we'll comfort you. It's fine. We just have to survive.
This could be like the start of a penance thing.
Yeah, Vanessa, I'm gonna make you roll for this. I want to see how much you've inspired.
All right.
To do a very, you've inspired. You've told this very doof man to do a very complicated thing, and I want to see if you've inspired him to step up. Winda can throw in an assist because Winda did participate.
All right,
so
what am I testing against?
This wouldn't be a challenge. This would be although it would be funny if it was a challenge for some reason. Yeah. I'm going to make this a. It's going to be a little tougher because he's a little thick and a little slow.
He's also traumatized, poor baby.
And traumatized. Yeah.
He's had a long day.
He's in shock.
Oh, 13.
So I need you to beat this 13 to find out if you've convinced this moron to go help spearhead the rescue of his people.
Cool. Well, as I've displayed through how I was speaking, my influence is not great. It's a 6, but I do feel like this really needs to be influenced. So
one of us is the interrogator, and one of us is just the knight, right? You're the hard edge of the sword, and I'm the guiding force behind the sword. But it's okay.
Yeah, but you are talking too slow. 10 minutes ahead. We gotta get moving.
We gotta move.
But this is going to be I think this will be my justice, which is my great might represents defense, not destruction. Like, I'm trying to just tell him, like, this has to be first. We have to get this done for all of your people. We can't worry about punishing people. And let's see.
How much is my assist?
Yeah, what do we get?
Let's throw in a D6 asset that's called, hey, it's Winda.
Right.
Do you want to?
Would that be how we do? Would that be how we do an assist cam?
Joe, do you want to try the rules out on this one? You could do that. That'll be useful.
That was one way to put that.
No, that's.
Hey Joe, do we want to try the rules?
No, this is very good.
I was like, do you want to do the rules or the correct story? Do you want to do anything correctly today?
Poor Joe's like just gonna for the rest of his life just thinking about this one session.
I would love to try the rules, Cam.
I am just saying that.
This is a learning moment. Cam, can you tell us the rules for how somebody can assist in a test?
I was enjoying my sister during the speeches, and I was enjoying the people fighting the things, and I was swept away in that, and then I forgot about. So no, but the are two things you can do in Tales of Xadia to help other people out, especially in cases like this. One of them is you can spend a plot point of your own and create an asset that you can give to them, just like you would give it to yourself. So plot point spend to create it, and it's a D6 it will be a D6 asset, which is useful. They could say, "Hey, Winda's helping," and here's it is. The other more kind of esoteric thing, which I think is we haven't covered yet in the game because it's never really come up, is if you want to try and help out through almost like an inspiration teamwork I feel what you're doing and I'm going to try and help you out kind of way, as opposed to I'll help dig too. It's you can step down one of your values for the rest of the session if it's the same one as the one that they're using in their test or contest or challenge, and that means for this role, for their actual thing, they can step theirs up by 1. So an example might be, yeah. So since Vanessa is using justice, Winda, if Winda wanted to sort of make a very brief soliloquy on justice, so this is all for that, could step her justice down by 1 step, and then that means that Vanessa's would go up by 1 step. But the thing is, there's 2 options, because there's situations where that doesn't seem to make sense. Like if you're not, like I think that Babacar could do it, the value thing, but Winda might spend a plot point to create the asset thing, you know. And I think that's really up to how you want to do it.
I think the weird thing I did, and Cam, this might have just been one of those things where the answer is, yeah, Joe, don't ever do that, is something happened, and then after the fact I realized that it should be a roll, because I feel like normally I would say, what would you like to do? We roll, and then based on all the decisions that go into their dice pool, then we'd act out the scene based on the results of the dice pool, and I've kind of reversed us.
It's super cool though. I mean, like I think that role playing is the reason we do it, and describing stuff is the story, right? So the rules are just there to prop it up. Yeah. Yeah. So I was just teasing you before. I don't think it's at all a problem that you do it the way we're doing it.
Joe's just sitting at his desk. Johnny Cash is hurt playing in his head as he stares off.
But just like it's in black and white.
A focus on the rolls.
So
all right.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and roll. Who would like to so we'll back this up a little bit. Who would like to help Vanessa in this attempt? Winda.
And I'll spend a plot point to create a D6 called Hey, It's Winda.
That's
It's also a spin-off of this show.
So charming.
Hey, it's Winda.
Hey, it's Winda. Cool. I'm gonna use, I think, my Knight of Luxaria distinction, because I think that it's kind of like pulling rank. Like I look like an official, he thinks he's an official. So you know, it just is that connection there. I'm gonna use my strategy because this is me giving a battle plan. So I think that's my dice pool.
Can I do the thing where I step your justice up?
Are you gonna do that?
I totally am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I've still got my hand in your back, right? I've just finished this whole thing of helping you put your armor on. You're like, no, I don't need this. And
I'm being very frustrating about it.
That whole spiel about, hey, you're the sword and I'm the thing, and obviously none of that matters as much, but it means a lot to Babacar that his sister is doing this. So I'll step my justice down to D6 and step yours up for this roll.
D12 justice.
Ooh.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna roll this, and I'm not gonna get a bunch of pitches. Okay.
Well, you didn't get a bunch.
I forgot what I was rolling against.
A 13.
I was rolling against a 13?
Yes.
Fine. Then I'll spend a plot point. And I'll add that extra 2, and I'll have a 15, and I'm not going to be happy about it. Yes, I'll spend a plot point, throw that in there to make it a success so that we can kind of get Necrix to do this helpful thing so we can focus on.
Necrix, thank you all for participating in that learning experience. Necrix, like everything sort of like washes over him, right? And he's looking around. He kind of looks at Eljal, this amazing moment of Eljal, the only person in the world who has bested him in combat. Leaping forward to save Feathershaw, right? And then Vanessa just like rallies the troops, and by troops I mean him, Winda on one side of her and Babacar on the other side of her. Babacar, you know, in this very like supportive familial pose. Bonetta just like tall and just authoritative and very Avengers Assemble right now. And Winda's eyes wide and frantic.
Just hair everywhere.
Just that
Very
you need to
trustworthy.
get this through your head energy. We ain't met, son, but and so there's this pause, and he looks at you, and he's like, Bonetta, right?
Yes.
Chief Bonetta, I won't let you down.
Oh no, Chief Vanessa.
Okay. You can do this.
Okay, I can do this. And like he like and like turns and runs up the steps towards Fate Unknown.
And I'm just gonna roll my eyes and be like, Skywingers. And are you activating my hitch, I should ask?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that should be a stress. What kind of stress should we give you? Let me make a decision. This is exhaustion.
Yeah.
You're worn out.
Nosix is or not Nosix. Necrexon is an exhausting person.
He's
Yes.
a lot. He's a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. My narrator characters are an extension of myself. Okay. That leaves the party and Feathershaw and a couple other pals in this room with the primal well. And you will notice in this time that it's last days of Krypton here, folks. This place is starting to shake a little bit. Things are starting to rumble. You're starting to hear some things creak that probably shouldn't creak.
Yikes. Do I get a sense that if we don't take this out of the room might collapse and bury it, kind of situation that we're in now?
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. A few things can happen. I mean, this thing, from what you can observe, Babacar, the island floats around this thing, not the other way around, right? Yeah. So you're honestly not quite sure what happens with the well. If the island hits the mountain or is finished being demolished and pummeled by the mountain without removing it.
What were your plans? I'll say to Eljal. I'll just direct it at you. What was your plan with this? Were you going to take it away?
Yeah, but we didn't have a plan as to how to move it, how to get it out of here safely.
Feathershaw just sort of pipes in and says, "We were about to take it when we were attacked by tiny rock monsters. But you're here now, and we can take the thing." And Feathershaw just continues forward to grab the well.
Bonetta, I'm guessing you're putting on that armor for a reason.
Yes, it's. I would not recommend. Actually, I stopped, and I'm just gonna let Feathershaw give this a go.
Yeah, I realized too. I'm like, let's see what happens.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it actually happen in the glimpses that I was like, and I'm really weighing up my feeling about whether I care as much about this or not.
Yeah.
And I don't think right now I do. So I'm just gonna like, no, stop.
Yes, you shouldn't do that. If the people need this.
Feathershaw passes through the outer ring, steps into let's see here. How exactly do I want to play this? One moment.
Steps carefully over the rock monsters.
Steps carefully over the rock monsters.
While Feathershaw is like stepping over and getting closer, I get closer to the crew and I say, "Listen, I don't trust Feathershaw's motives, but I do agree we need to get this thing out of here and help people. So we're all on the same page, okay? I'm not trying to."
I'm glad you hear it.
Yeah. I mean,
I I don't know what Feathershaw wants this for their own gains.
Yeah.
To be honest, and
I trust
I'm not cool
them
with that.
about as far as I can throw them, which is actually not a good saying for the situation because I'm very strong and I can throw them very far. But something feels off about this situation.
Okay. Well, and as you say that, surprise, surprise, all of you know what's about to happen because it happened in an alternate version of this scene that we have
Just kind of
completed.
imagined.
We got there.
Feathershaw sort of approaches sort of the outer field around the primal well, and when they put their hands through it, oh, look at that! They freeze up and their limbs go, "Nyeh," and they start screaming in horrific pain.
Oh.
And as the group reacts, I need to do a little rolling.
What? Uh-oh.
Little rolling.
Just a little rolling.
Ooh.
Do you?
Yikes.
14? What is this for? I hope this is just for Feathershaw.
This is for Feathershaw. So
I was hoping it'd be for Wiggy.
So you guys just do some fun character stuff, some banter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to ask Winda really quick. What was the second thing again that was important? You wanted a mage.
Mage.
Right?
Mage.
You want
Yes.
a mage?
I need a
didn't hear
mage.
that. Never mind.
I'm trying
Wasn't
to
there.
like everything starts. So there's this girl, and I gotta help her save everyone. And she actually came up with like a surprisingly really good plan that I feel like I don't know. Maybe she's like underestimated for a lot. No, ignore that part. But she came up with like
fire? Can we do
what?
bolts of fire?
It's not actually useful in this situation, but I want to see that later. She needs bridges moved towards the edge of the mountains so that she can evacuate all of these innocent people as the mountains crush the city.
Is that something you can do, Babu?
Okay, so that conversation has been happening as Feathershaw sort of starts to step forward, which is pretty crappy if y'all it's just like, I'm going to touch the thing, and all of you sort of close ranks and go, anyway.
Well, they're doing that.
Can I do?
Feel
I wanna
like we're
do-
all.
I want to pause. I want to pause again. I'm sorry. I think that you're right. I think that is. I'm the one who's seen how badly this can do. I can see the screaming in my head. I have remembers this whole truth seeing I did before, and I think I want to rewind if it's possible. I know you just rolled some dice, but I want to, as he's reaching forth, I want to suddenly go, that split second. You know what? No, I think I do have to do something, and I'm going to just run over there and try and haul him back. Is that something I can do instead? Can we do that?
Yeah. And I won't. I'm not going to make you roll for that. That's a pretty simple move. You're going to make Feathershaw real unhappy, but
Because I'm a big dude, and they're not.
Yeah. So as Feathershaw is reaching, you literally grab them by the Feathershaw. Has a very impressive, like, sort of drapey train. It looks very good. It's going to be a big hit at formal events. And you sort of grab the Feathershaw and just like yank back, and just shoulders first, almost Feathershaw just gets pulled back by you, and just turns around, and this very just contorted and just pissed and angry face. Feathershaw is just like, what are you doing?
I've seen
Not like a mystical, gross way, but just in a very angry way.
Right.
I overdid it.
Not a Galadriel sort of way, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, not a, I will be a queen. No, just I'm very done with you folks.
I want to get right up into their face, like Sunfire Elf to Moonshadow Elf, like forehead to forehead, and say, I have seen what this does to people. Norsex has a room full of statues upstairs of people who've tried this. That's what the armor's for. I'll point at Vanessa.
And it takes a second for Feathershaw to click, and almost the mask goes back on instantly, and Feathershaw regains their composure, and it's just like, thank you.
Well, you hired us for a reason, I'll say to them, just if it's like an obvious follow-up.
I suppose so. Vanetta, then? The well.
Yes, well, maybe I'll handle the well, and Winda, you need a mage who can move a bridge.
Yeah, and
Feather Shawl, you can get us up onto a floating island. Seems like you could maybe do that.
do the zap zap for some bridges.
There's this moment where Feathershaw's like, but see here, life has now been saved twice. Sees what happens. Well, no, did not see what happens when they touch the well. A lot of little alternate dimensions we just spiked off here.
Good premonitions.
Yeah. Maybe for good measure, you were just able to tap some truth into their, and they went, so Feathershaw is just kind of gets a little withdrawn and frustrated, gives Eljav like this long look, like, you and me, we're in this. We are in this deep. Looks to Winda and just says, very well, lead the way.
Finally. So I lead Feathershaw back up to where Alana and the rest of the town is, so I can guide them to those bridges.
Cool. Okay, and sort of as they're going up the stairs, Feathershaw stops, gets a thoughtful look, points down to Babacar, and just says, she said the mages.
Right.
2 mages better than 1.
Vanetta, can you do this alone?
Of course, I can. Yes, exactly. I do have Iljal. No offense, Iljal. But it will be fine. And worst case scenario, I trust that you can figure out how to fix me if I freeze. It might take you many years because I know that, you're not the best mage in the world, but
Wait,
you
what?
are, very talented. So I'm very proud of you. And I think you're going to do a good job moving bridges. So, okay.
Eljal, I will leave my sister to your care if you do not mind making certain that nothing terrible happens to her while I'm gone. I will go and help blow bridges up or something.
Babu,
Mm,
I love you.
yes, I know.
Good.
So Winda leads the mages back up the stairs. We're going to follow them for a moment through the keep, back outside. Winda, you're running them back towards where you last left Alana?
Yep. Take them back towards Alana so we can get them to bridges.
Cool. As you are heading that way, a few minutes go by, you're running, you see people, to Alana's credit, you see people like in orderly, everyone's got what they can carry, right? And you see people like heading in lines, a few volunteers have popped up. There's even like a guy with a blacksmith apron giving you sort of nervous looks, seeing that as you came from the keep, helping head people towards a general direction. But you do see Alana just like running towards you. And it's just like, where have you been? Did you find mages?
Found him. Found two. I know 2 mages now.
Double
That's
the mages.
amazing. After you take care of our new problem, I need you to handle the bridges.
New problem.
What?
New problem?
As you look, and alarmingly, mountains very close now. Like there are buildings falling off, the side of the mountain. You hear people screaming just at the pure terror of it. As you watch, a slightly taller residential building sort of split in half and fall into the mountain range. It strikes one of the side of one of the mountains pretty hard. Rocks and boulders are falling away, and which gives way to this like almost open, like as if part of this mountain had a big pocket and it was hollow. And you hear this like unworldly, inhuman, like echoing, reverberating scream, and this massive centipede-esque creature like pulls its way out of the mountain having been disturbed in its subterranean slumber by a city crashing into its home. It pulls itself out and onto Anine as people are like freaking out. And Olana just points and says, "Those are the problem." And there are two other centipedes that have already found their way onto the city, adding to the chaos.
I'll
Oh no.
turn to Winda and say, "See, that I can deal with. I can't move bridges, but I can blow up centipedes."
Oh, of course. How did I not realize one was more insurmountable than the other?
Feathershaw sort of straightens up and says, "Go do your magic. And you, I think today's your payday." Feathershaw looks at Olana and says, "Bridges, take me to them." We cut back to Eljal and Benetta on either side of the primal well.
Like nervously pacing back and forth.
Are you
because
going
I
to touch
do
the
feel-
well?
Yes, stay right where you are. Don't move.
We should have
Stay.
probably sent the small child out, right?
Yes, actually, go upstairs. Go.
There's not a lot.
What?
Pareka starts like walking up the steps.
There's a lot. No, the little girl step. There's a lot of friends upstairs that don't want to be interrupted.
Okay, just sit on the stairs right there. Just stay right there.
You guys are confusing. And Pareka just like sits on the steps and just folds her arms and just pouts.
In fact, take Wiggy with you, and I not toss. I set Wiggy down and send Wiggy over to
Wiggy, like as if just ordered. Wiggy just like heads up the stairs. You don't actually see legs moving. It just happens, and Wiggy settles in Pareka's lap.
Well, Eljal, if I don't survive this, I'm sorry that we did not get to, talk more, connect. You seem like a very good person. Okay, well, I'm going to.
Wait,
just touch it?
Yeah, I mean, wait. So the armor's supposed to protect you from?
It's supposed to, in theory. The earlier versions of the armor didn't.
Oh.
So we're sort of going on, hope that yes, this one is a good one, and it's going to work.
Okay. What? Okay. All right. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, when you're ready. I don't know what
Yeah,
I was
well,
going to do.
I just slam my hand on it.
And that's where we'll end today's episode of Roll and Keep.
Oh my goodness.
No! I'm like, oh no.
I'm not sure what I can do, but go ahead. Go ahead. Just...
I don't have armor. I can't help anything. Oh, man.
I'm never going to see my sister again, I tell you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, this wonderful crew, for playing, and thank you, Cam, for being so strict with me.
I feel bad.
If anyone was like, "Well, that was weird," that was fun playfulness. That's what I'm gonna tell myself tonight when I'm trying to sleep. Hey, thank you all so much for watching. Again, we love the Dragon Prince. You love the Dragon Prince. We're so appreciative that we get to play in this sandbox that Wonderstorm has created. I truly love this show, this world. If you want to jump in, download the playtest, download the rules primer. Again, they're dropping links in the chat, or again, if you're watching this in the future on YouTube, there's a link below in the description that you can click. There's characters in Tales in the Lost Oasis that we're not even using for this game. There's a million ways to make this your own. I absolutely have. I cut this poor story up into weird little bits, and have made a stew of it. To just stay suit thematically correct. So thank you guys so much for watching. The book, the actual full book of Tales of Xadia is available for pre-order. Again, do all the things with the links that I suggested you do a moment ago. Thank you all so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it. Stay safe out there, be kind to one another, and we will see you next week. Bye.